Hello, race fans, and welcome to Disc Golf Daily. Today is Friday, May 31st. My apologies for taking yesterday off. There was not an event the previous weekend, so the rankings did not change, and we are putting together some things that I think you will really like. Stay tuned to the end of the podcast to hear all about it. We are the podcast that gets you caught up with disc golf news and growth in about 10 minutes. Our number one story of the day: the Portland Open is underway. This is a DGPT Plus event, so it will count in the season end, points, and it will count more. I think it's 25% more in the standings. Owen Scoggins starts out hot with a 1,005 rated 7 down in the first round. Kat Murch and Missy Gannon are 1 and 2 back. And don't look now, but Paige Pierce rounds out the lead card after day one. 2 of our 3 podium picks start day 2 on the lead card. How do you like those apples? And we are expecting Ella Hansen to have a positive bounce in round 2 and beyond. Our number 2 news story of the day: Infinite Discs has put out a blog post about the best throwing putter. They got the top 10 throwing putters based on sales numbers and reviews. And in alphabetical order, I think, is the Alpaca, the AVR, the Berg, the Envy, the Glitch, the Pixel, wow, 3 in a row from MVP, the Pure, the Tomb, the Wizard, and the Zone. They did all these calculations. I don't know what was involved with them, but I guess sales numbers and reviews. And there was a tie for first between the Infinite Alpaca and the MVP Glitch. And as the website's published by Infinite, you can't help but wonder if there was a little thumb on the scales for the Alpaca. But either way, they are likely both great throwing putters. And if you want to do the MVP Glitch World Championships, we're having one here at Maple Hill in June. Sign up now. The Axiom Envy gets a special mention for making it to the podium. Congrats to all of the major manufacturers for having at least one putter on the list. And our number 3 news story of the day. Oh, actually, this isn't our news story. This is our op-ed piece about player ratings. We should have a longer intro. So, we've started a PDGA Handicapped League at Maple Hill, Tuesdays at 5 if you want to join us. And it has made me realize that there is a big issue with PDGA ratings. We alternate between the Reds, Whites, and Old Glory. Reds is the easiest of the 3, averaging about 5 or 6 shots easier than the other 2 layouts. In order to determine handicaps, we want to utilize scores obviously every time someone comes and plays. But the PDGA ratings are wildly different from round to round. This is possibly because we don't have enough aggregators, but seriously, they're off by like 40 points for the same score week to week. That translates, and not because we're changing courses. I mean, like playing the Reds and then playing the Reds. You shoot the same score and your rating's like 40 points different. That translates to 6 or 7 strokes when calculating your handicap. That is crazy. It makes it impossible to accurately calculate someone's handicap, although we do a very good job. And no, the weather was not dramatically different. Actually, I was recently talking with a friend and mentioned the singular strength, in my opinion, of the PDGA ratings is the fact that if there is significant weather, it will not impact the ratings because it affects all players equally. As usual, when I state an opinion, my friend replies, "Does it?" And just by asking someone if their opinion is right can be so very, very powerful. The answer is no, of course it doesn't. First of all, that really windy section of the weather happens while someone is on a water hole and someone else is in a very protected woods hole. Bad weather is inconsistent and will affect everyone's round differently. Even if the wind is relatively consistent, it's going to die down at times and it's going to gust up at times. Second, one guy forgot his umbrella and a towel and by the end of the round could barely hold his discs, and another guy had a heated coat and gloves And 18 towels, by the way, that's a trick I think Nate Doss taught me. Have 18 towels before you start the round. Take one out of the pocket for each hole, and then just put it in the other pocket of your Zuka cart, and you're all set. And that person was barely affected by the weather. Weather affects people differently for various reasons. Yes, it's kind of calculated in, but it is reactionary as opposed to predictive. Another kind of interesting point. Let's pretend you shoot the best round of your life. You finally get 10 down on a course where 10 down is usually 1,000 rated. And let's pretend on this night, half of the field also just happened to shoot really well. All of a sudden, the best round of your life is only rated 970 instead of 1,000. And according to the PDGA, it's not even one of your top 10 rounds. But you know it was. It is time for disc golf to put on its big boy pants and truly rate our courses for SSA and slope. What made me think of this, besides my friend asking, does it? There's a thread on UDisc asking if UDisc is going to develop player ratings. Now that they have round ratings, it feels like the next natural step. Basically, every other comment on this thread discussed a local handicap league saying something to the effect of, we have a local guy that calculates the handicaps for our course, so we don't even need this. Yeah, so do we, but there is no chance that any of us are doing it the same way. And some people don't have that guy. I love that Chuck Kennedy created ratings. It was clearly needed, it is clearly loved, it is clearly out of its depth with the direction our sport is taking. We need a better system. And if I was a betting man, I'd bet it will be developed by UDisc before the PDGA figures it out. And I'll take it farther. I'd also bet that in about 5 years, the UDisc player ratings will have equal value among the average disc golfer. And then about 5 years later, once the wounds have healed, the PDGA will pay UDisc an annual fee to calculate ratings for PDGA members so that we have one unified system. I truly hope we don't have to wait that long, though. And I truly hope that course ratings and slopes are able to be calculated automatically to a really close number with all of the data that UDisc has, because that's the next step. And the sooner we get there, the better. All right, it is time for our exciting news. Disc Golf Daily is expanding. I know a lot of you say to yourselves, isn't it Disc Golf Daily? Why don't those lazy bones do anything on the weekends? Well, the plan all along was to do something on the weekends, but we needed to make sure that people cared first. And we are kind of lazy. But thank you for listening. We know you care, so here's what we are doing. At the end of the week, we will have a Saturday podcast hosted by Ben Kenny, which is future looking at a mover and shaker that is helping to push disc golf forward. We've got our first couple shows lined up, but if you know someone we should talk to, someone who runs a successful league, someone who's building a disc golf venue, someone who runs an amazing putting league, or a course, or has a bar or bookstore or whatever that's disc golf themed, someone who's building a website or app to help the sport, whatever it is, if they're making disc golf better, we want to interview them and let the world know about them. Suggest someone or yourself by emailing us at discgolfdaily@aol.com. And then on Sunday, Seth Fendley will be conducting a series of interviews about the history of the Pro Tour. The first couple episodes will be an interview with me and my memories of the early days as we set up the Pro Tour. And then he will interview a bunch of other people who will most likely adjust my memories to a more accurate accounting. This will be broken up into seasons, starting with season 0, the planning and prep work that went into launching the Disc Golf Pro Tour, basically from 2010 to 2015. And then season 1 will start talking about 2016. The DGPT history will be starting in mid-June, and the future look will be launching in early July. Thank you so much for all the support you've given us. Please keep sharing the podcast, and if you've not yet done so, give us a great rating on your favorite app. Now sit back and enjoy the Portland Open. That does it for us today. If you have any thoughts, news, or opinions, shoot us an email at discgolfdaily@aol.com. Have fun, throw them straight, and hit the thin gap.